Tune in to the Dating Advisory Board show, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. to learn how to lead your love life like a CEO leads a company, the Business of Dating show. We discuss how to approach romance like you would approach the boardroom, with confidence, grace, and focus. Learn how to advocate for your needs, brand you, determine your core non-negotiables, create a board of advisors, and more. After all, the key to success is collaboration, both in business and personal relationships. Make sure that the reflection in the mirror is the best version of yourself before you start swiping right. This is Jen Hecht, Chairwoman of the Dating Advisory Board, and welcome to the show. Well, hello, and welcome to the Dating Advisory Board. I'm your host, Jen Hecht. We have an unbelievable episode for you this evening. We have the CEO of Helicase, Andrew Herr, on the show today. Thank you so much for being here. We are going to talk about how we can enhance our mental and physical performance. So welcome. Thank you so
Jen.
much.
It's great to be here. I always like to help out people who are building fascinating businesses and directions that can help humans, be happier, do more, do better.
Oh, thank you. Yes, we try to make you be the best version of yourself, and he's going to give us strategies on how to do that today. So let me give you a brief bio on Andrew. Like I said, he's the CEO of Helicase, a human performance company that leverages cutting-edge science and technology to enhance mental and physical performance through nutrition and cognitive programs, as well as adjunct professor of security studies at Georgetown University, where he teaches an unconventional weapons technologies. I mean, you got to talk about that. I mean, that's amazing.
We can talk about that. That's a labor of love, teaching students in a way that engages them. We'll talk more about how they end up on the front lawn of the university wearing full chemical weapons gear doing obstacle courses, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah, okay, great. Yes. Andrew has led studies on the future of human performance and biotechnology for the Department of Defense, trained U.S. government personnel preparing for deployment to Afghanistan and Iraq, and worked with the Departments of Homeland Security and Energy on emerging technology strategy, nuclear weapons detection. So thank you.
Happy to be here.
Okay. All right. So I love this one quote from your website. You've been recognized as a mad scientist by the Army's Training and Doctrine Command. So tell us how that relates and what you guys do at Helicase.
Sure. So the work I've done has really come out of this passion for helping our military, for helping our personnel now and thinking about how we might need to change in the future. And Training and Doctrine Command is part of the Army, and they have groups that are thinking about the far future. They have a program called the Mad Scientist Program. And when you come in and do work and give a talk for them, sometimes they will give you the coin. It's a military thing. You get a coin and denote that you are indeed a mad scientist. So it's actually a theme that runs through my life is, you go up and you get your caricature drawn at some event, and they tend to drive me as a mad scientist. So, hopefully more scientists, less mad, but it's been fun, and I really do care about helping the military. And we've really taken what we learned by helping people, fight and win in the hardest places on Earth, in the hardest circumstances on Earth. And we turn that into helping both men and women in armed forces today, but also CEOs, individuals in everything from college students all the way from, a CEO triathlete at the top of their game from Wall Street to Silicon Valley and sort of everyone in between. And we love doing it because we can help make people achieve more and be happier. And if you can do both those at the same time, it's got to be something good there. Yeah,
absolutely. I love it. Okay, so what are some basic steps that we can take to enhance our mood, which obviously affects personal and professional relationships?
I mean, really, it depends where someone starts. Obviously, there's nothing more fun for us than really personalizing a program to somebody. But people would be surprised the simple things around them affect their mood. At 2% dehydration, meaning if you lose a few pounds of water during the day, and you can step on a scale in the morning and the afternoon and find out, it's actually going to make you more anxious, less confident. Same if you eat really fried foods and other things, it actually causes inflammation in the body, causes the immune system to sort of attack your own body. And when that happens, your brain is actually affected in a way that it makes you less confident. So all these things tie together, what you eat, what you drink, how much you sleep. And if you don't treat your body right, then actually it makes you less confident, less ready to sort of take on the next challenge. We ran a study earlier, I guess actually now at this point already last year, where we worked with the Army and we worked with 300 Army cadets and we ran a randomized placebo-controlled trial. And it is amazing how much you can improve mood with just nutrition alone.
Wow. Oh, that's insane. I mean, I remember when I saw you speak at Cadre, that's how I met you, that you were talking about when you were training, going, maybe, I don't know if it was the Army or we were how to make the special ops work faster or run faster. Is that something that you can enhance? I mean, for the day-to-day person who's, working out at like Lifetime?
Sure. You'd be surprised how tied together physical performance and mental performance are. Mm-hmm. In fact, everything we do is to hit both sides. So the simplest thing might be, how frequently are you eating? It turns out that when you don't eat very frequently, your blood sugar is below optimal, meaning blood sugar is just, your body turns food into fuel for the cells, and most of the cells work off of, it turns it into sugar. Mm-hmm. And so when that's below optimal, not only is your brain sort of turned down the higher thinking parts of it, and then you're not as focused. This is what happens when it's 3 p.m. and somebody's hangry. They haven't eaten since lunch or since breakfast, and you have a bad meeting with them. Well, actually, at the same time, that's a signal to your body to break down muscle for fuel. So not only are you decreasing your mental performance, but now your body's losing that muscle that you may or may not have worked hard to gain, and is enabling your physical performance when you're running. So even how frequently you eat has a huge effect on all kinds of things.
Yeah. Now, how often should we be eating?
It depends on the person, but we find that somewhere between every 2 and 3 hours is optimal. And if you eat right before you're hungry, but not after you can already feel it, that's probably exactly right.
Oh, okay. Now let's talk about, let's break down the food too. So when you talk about nutrition, right, it's a major component of this. I guess let's start with breakfast. Or is there a certain time we should be eating? Should be drinking, lemon water first and green juice in the morning? I mean, what could we, walk us through a typical day.
So, just as I said, if we think that keeping your blood sugar at the optimal level is this hugely valuable tool for performance, which means eat when you get up. Yeah. Don't delay. Now, if you're about to go straight to the gym and you don't want to have a full stomach when you go straight to the gym, that's fine. But have a little bit of something that doesn't bother you and is going to give you some fuel. And so it depends on the person. But, if you're not going to work out, things like eggs and veggies, fruit. We love fruit that have dark skins, and we eat the skin, like berries, things like that. Almond butter is a great thing that takes, not 5 seconds to stick a spoon into the jar, although maybe if you're sharing with other people, don't put it back in the jar. That could be good. But, these simple things that have some protein, some healthy fats in them, and then if you can add that with fruits and veggies, then you're off to a great start to the day.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, what do you think about green juice? I think I was telling you about the one that I like, Chef V. I'll give you a shout out because I love Chef V. But they have these deliveries, so they deliver it fresh, and it's only good for a week. And I drink that in the morning. It's got 7 different greens in it. I mean, because I'm just lazy to do it myself. So just say me, hey, you got to get the greens in somehow. So are you seeing more where you're kind of drinking your meals, or if it's heavy, or what do you suggest on that as well?
We think if you can eat the actual fruit or vegetable, it's going to almost always be better than juicing it.
Oh, really? Okay.
For a couple reasons. One, the fiber and other things in that fruit, it's a vegetable, they fill you up. They also feed the bacteria that live inside us that without which we would die. They're critical. There's a huge symbiotic relationship there. They're making vitamins for us. They're talking to our immune system. They're protecting us. So got to feed them.
Yes.
And so, fiber is one thing they eat, in addition to the fact that once you juice something, the really sensitive but really powerful chemicals in fruits and vegetables that have a lot of the benefits, they pretty quickly start to degrade. So even though something's in the refrigerator, it might be losing some of its benefits faster than you think. So we think eat the whole thing if you can. There's some tricks for when you might want to have juice after you work out. For example, when the one time eating actual sugar is good for you because you're refueling your muscles and your stores in your body. But we like to eat the whole thing if you can. But a green juice that doesn't have any sweeteners in it, or doesn't have any sugar or fruit juice or other things, that's not going to set you back. So if you like it, then have it.
Okay. Oh, well, that's good to know. Now, when you talk about having those dark berries, so were you talking about like the dark grapes, like red grapes or blackberries, or
things
like
that are dark blues, dark reds, strawberries, blueberries probably come out on top somehow. Apples, we love apples, especially red ones. So really anything.
Gala apples are awesome.
Anything that's dark colored and you eat the skin, right? So I think the most fascinating thing is when we look at research on this, when you look at the data out there from, when the average person eats, let's say, grapefruit versus oranges, really the major difference between those two things is that grapefruits have a little bit more of these dark colored pigments and that you can taste as well versus an orange, right? You don't eat the rind of either. You probably eat a relatively similar serving size. Maybe you eat a half a grapefruit, a whole orange. And yet the impact on weight loss of a grapefruit versus an orange is much higher. And then if you go to berries and apples and things like that, where you actually have that skin where those beneficial compounds are really concentrated, they're even like a huge amount better. So we think that you can even differentiate between which fruits and vegetables are the best. And we love to work with our clients to find sort of the optimal things and simple decision rules so that they can, go somewhere, pick the best stuff, feel great, and get on with their day because everybody's busy now.
Oh yeah, everybody's. I mean, I will tell you, this is a true story. So I have, do you think anything about the lemon water? Do you do that?
I don't do that.
You don't do that? Okay. So I don't do it. I'm like, okay. So I always talk about lemon water. So I have my routine in the morning. So I have a large glass of lemon water. I love lemons. But then I cut up strawberries, blueberries. I put some almond milk and then cinnamon on it. So that's how I start. And so I feel pretty good that he's telling me I'm right.
So the one thing I will say about lemon water, though, is if it makes you drink more water, then go with it. Because being hydrated, we hit that almost the first thing, right? Yeah. Being hydrated is good. So if you like lemon water, go for it. Yeah, no,
I do, and I drink a lot. I drink a lot of water, but because I do get dehydrated, just because you're running around, you're doing things. And do you know what is the amount? How many glasses you're supposed to drink a day? Is there a formula based on weight? I can't remember. I heard something one day, but I don't remember.
I mean, you'll typically read in like a government kind of a recommendation 8 cups a day, 8-ounce cups. We think the average person should be starting at 3 liters a day, which is more than 8 cups, more like 12 cups. So that's like, if you drink a normal bottle of water, this is half a liter. So if you're thinking about the amount of water that's in like 6 of these a day, although ideally maybe you're not wasting 6 plastic bottles a day, that'd be great.
Save the earth.
What about tea? How is tea?
That's Jeremy
the voice
Beaver.
of the station manager who's enthralled with this program. How is black tea? Is that hydrating, dehydrating?
There's a little bit of caffeine in tea, but for most people, that's not going to have a big effect on hydration. Certainly green tea is going to be the best one, probably have the best compounds for you. Black tea's fine. We love coffee. All these things are great. The one trick is you don't want to have a bunch of caffeine when it's going to affect your sleep. So just thinking about when you're drinking it during the day.
Does it dehydrate you, though, if you drink tea?
For most people, it won't. It's kind of a funny thing because most people say, if you drink coffee, you're dehydrated. But when you look at the research literature, that's not so clear. But the answer is you should be drinking a ton of water anyways. So have them both and don't let it affect your sleep.
That's right. So when you go, thank you, Jeremy. That's a great question. Actually, no, seriously. I mean, I didn't know that. Yeah, see? I mean, let us know if you have more questions. I love Jeremy. No, but because when I go in and get my Starbucks in the morning, I'll get my coffee and my half calf, and then I'll get the largest venti water they have, right? I mean, it only lasts a little bit, but I drink a lot of it just to, it's good for your skin and
Good for all of you.
Yeah, all of you or all of the above. Now, the one thing when you're talking about working out, which I thought was interesting, and I've heard you say this before, which I think is brilliant, isn't there a certain amount of time where you have to do like a recovery drink after to help your body? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. There's like a golden hour after you exercise where your body is going to preferentially pull proteins and sugars into your liver, which replaces the stores of glycogen, which is the way your body stores carbohydrates, and into your muscles to sort of refuel and then repair them with especially the protein. So you actually get something like twice the benefit of protein if you get it in that hour after you work out of you would another time during the day. So that's just, free added muscle to your body, which I don't know that many people who don't want that. So we think, if you can do it within maybe a half hour, it might be even better, but certainly within an hour, try to get that into your body so that you can get your body repairing itself, recovering, and get the maximum benefits from the exercise you just did.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, most of the gyms have, juice bars, or they have different protein. You can get your protein shake there.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say is we try to stay away from a lot of these protein powders have like artificial sweeteners and a bunch of junk in them. So try to stay away from that stuff. But otherwise, sure, yeah, why not? If you bring it with you, if you get it there, you're refueling your body and you're setting yourself up to get all those benefits going forward for the rest of the day. Yeah. The worst thing you can do is not eat, because then you've stressed your body.
Yes.
You've probably push your blood sugar levels down, which is fine. But now you're sort of like physically and mentally depriving yourself when you could have just given yourself all the sort of benefits. So don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, I can say I've done that before, where I just got so busy or whatever, you work out for the night and you don't have enough to eat, or you're not, rehydrating your body. And then you wake up and you're sluggish and you don't have energy, and I can't think straight. So it's all, and that's, that's important. Like most people well, I was so busy, I didn't even have time to eat today. What do you say to that?
I'd say if you had eaten, you would have gotten more done, even though you'd spent 10 minutes. And, what we do with our clients when we work with individuals is, how do you solve that problem? What is something you like that's quick that you can have stuck in your desk, in the little fridge in the corner, whatever it is? And this is why coaching people is fun, because it's really actually simple typically to solve some of these problems. And then you enable people to do things that before they would have said, I didn't have time for. And the benefits are great and people feel great. And there we go.
Yeah. Now, there's something that I think is really interesting, too. There's certain bewitching hours that you should not be scheduling meetings, right, in business, and maybe even for dates, too. So we'll kind of, hack that in there a little bit. But so tell us a little bit about the study that you found basing on the time.
Well, so when we look at these questions of blood sugar and inflammation, all these other factors, I always tell people, never schedule meetings at 11 a.m. or 3 p.m. because someone hasn't eaten since breakfast, or somebody hasn't eaten since lunch, or God forbid at 3 p.m. someone hasn't eaten at all that day.
No.
And I used to walk into these meetings in the Pentagon with senior people, and the answer then is you're not going to get the best meeting possible. But what some people have seen me do in different circumstances is, if you can control yourself and you can make sure you eat something, but if you can't control what the other person on the other side of the table's done, what you want to do is give them a little piece of dark chocolate and give them that little hint of blood sugar, plus dark chocolate's good for you, and there you'll save your meeting and potentially get more out of it. When you look at Harvard Business School studies on the topic of eating during meetings, you see that in mock negotiations, they get like 10% better returns for both sides. So meaningful kinds of things in business. And because of that, I brought Jen a box of our favorite chocolates for this.
What is it, Demora? Where can you get this?
So Demora is an Italian chocolate maker. It's all single origin. Most of it's from South America.
I got it.
And they're some of our favorite ones, and they're great to put in the middle of the table too.
Oh yes, I mean, I don't know if I'd be sharing. Here.
Well, make sure you buy enough for everyone.
Yes, I will. I know, I'm just kidding. But this is good though, because they have different kinds.
Yes, so there's 6 different single origins from one plantation, and if you read the back, it's got a little story. So, anyways, these kinds of things that engage people love it.
Oh, I love it. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome.
And now for tell us the benefits of dark chocolate. Maybe not a lot of people know why versus regular milk chocolate or dark chocolate, or how can that help?
So it turns out that when you look at the compounds that are in cocoa powder, the thing that makes it taste like chocolate, that they improve blood flow, that they can decrease how much you react to stress, all these huge benefits, both for physical and mental performance. And they're all in that cocoa powder. So milk chocolate has a lot less cocoa powder per bite in it, and a lot more fats from, milk, for example, and other things. So the darker it is, the more you're getting, and the purer it is without other things that you might not care about. So a lot added sugar, for example, we don't love that. So the darker the better. We think start at 70%, and if you like it even higher than that, then by all means enjoy.
Yeah, and you can get them at a lot of places. I know I always say it at Balducci's or Whole Foods. I know that a lot of the grocery stores.
Today you can buy it at CVS. So it's really anywhere.
Yeah.
Chocolate, I don't know, 5-10 years ago got hot, and they started putting the percentage on bars, and thankfully that means it's accessible, although we certainly have our favorites.
Yeah, no, that's good. I know. I love chocolate. I'm not a candy person. I've never been a candy person, but chocolate's always been my downfall. And now
Well,
I'm
make
officially...
it an uplift instead of a downfall.
Exactly, you're right. Uplift. So, well, we're going to take a real short break, and then when we be back, we're going to have more information on how to enhance our mental and physical performance from Andrew. Well, hello, and it's Jen with the Dating Advisory Board. We're back with Andrew Herr, CEO of Helicase. Thank you so much for joining. We are learning so much of how we can enhance our mental and physical performance. And Jeremy Beaver has some more questions that he wants to ask. I cannot wait to hear.
Hey, Jeremy Beaver here.
Oh, hey, Jeremy.
So everybody knows about the actor and ex-football player Terry Crews, and my question is, he had just recently come out saying that he fasts from 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. till 2 p.m. the next day. And so my question is, will fasting, can that work for other people?
So fasting, intermittent fasting, there's a number of different ways people talk about it, different protocols to do it. It's a fascinating thing because it depends what your goal is. So if, let's say your goal is weight loss, and what we know is if you cut the number of calories you bring in by, let's say, about 15%, then you'll start to lose weight. And so you can do that a number of different ways. You can just eat 15% less stuff. But you know what? That's really hard because how the heck do you measure that?
Yeah.
Like nobody knows how to measure that. So you really have to count calories, which almost nobody wants to do. If you do it and it works for you, by all means, that's awesome. Most people can't do that. The next option is if you just stop eating starches, bread, rice, pasta, stuff like sugar, stuff like that, you actually unintentionally eat less food. And so the average person who goes to a higher protein, healthy fats diet, you don't want to replace it with bad fats and fried food. But if you go to a higher protein, healthy fat diet, you calorie restrict, meaning you decrease the number of calories you eat by about 15%. That's why when some people say it's carbs that make you fat, that's not true. But when you cut them out, you eat fewer calories. So calories matter, but there are ways to sort of trick your body. Now, to fasting, let's say one day a week you eat 500 calories or very few calories. Well, if you take one day a week off the table, that's about a 15% calorie reduction. And when you look at the research, what it shows is you lose the same amount of weight. So it's an option. You can use it. But some people seem to have a reaction where they feel a lot of clarity when they fast. And some people, their blood sugar is low and they don't feel good. And, this is a thing where we think on average, the very stable, very high quality, nutrient dense, eat more frequently diet, we find that it works better for most of our clients. Although the fasting approach can be good. And again, there's some nuance there about what your goals are and what you're shooting for and how your body works versus another person. But in general, it's one of a number of tools, and it really depends on what you're going for and how you work and what's easiest for you.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, because you hear about, I know I can. I get hangry. I have like my sugar drop like every 2 to 3 hours. I think it's genetic.
There is a genetic component to these things, actually. Although we can also train our bodies to work a little better, but more importantly, we can feed our bodies, and that's probably your best option. Although certain things you eat spike your blood sugar, and then your body realizes there's too much, and it pulls it out, and it crashes it. So you can easily put yourself in that low blood sugar moment fast by eating things like sugar or things that have like a lot of white bread. Your body actually can turn a piece of white bread into blood sugar 70% as fast as if you just drank a cup of sugar water.
Oh, wow. Oh, God. Yeah, because I know, there's, for me, inflammation. So I have psoriasis. So I have skin. So I had to cut out a lot of sugar and, how to change how I eat. And you hear more, well, I'm so inflamed. What food should we be eating? Do you have anything for inflammation? We'll get into supplements in a little bit. But, when I changed my diet, I noticed it was a huge shift in my psoriasis.
Yeah, so eating and crashing your blood sugar induces an inflammatory response. Eating fried food, eating these high sugar things, all of these affect your body, your immune system in a huge way and can drive these other factors. Yeah. The other thing is, it seems that these fruits and vegetables, the ones we were talking about earlier, dark colored, brightly colored, those seem to be on the anti-inflammatory side. We love these cold water fatty fish that have these omega-3 fatty acids, also tend to be anti-inflammatory. So those are all some good things. Cutting out those starches, you'll see that's a little bit of a theme about how we think about things. I think both those factors can help, and we see people talk about benefits from how they feel to looks, skin, hair, nails, everything. Yeah. You can really hit all this at once, which the fun thing is, can you optimize for everything someone wants? And obviously that's what we do when we work with individual clients.
Right, because you want to help them be the best version of themselves.
That's what I hear the motto is.
That's right. Got to get that reflection in the mirror on point, first. Let's talk about, you have this on your hand. What is that?
So as you can imagine, I test a large number of wearable devices, different pieces of technology. We're always looking for the best thing for our customers, the best thing when we do research. So this is measuring activity and other things during the day, but it's really measuring sleep quality at night. That's why I'm wearing it. So testing it so far, it's an interesting product, but I'll hold my final recommendations on different wearables for another time. But I think there's an opportunity to use these tools to help you say, if I change something, not only how do I feel better, but also is there anything objective data I can use to track it? But we know most people don't wear wearables after the first couple of weeks. So
really?
Got to just find something. If there's something that works for you, great. But most people actually put them in the drawer and never wear them again after about 3 weeks. So, obviously
why that is?
Because they don't provide you much actionable feedback. Walking more steps is good, but you probably on a day-to-day basis don't feel a huge difference between walking 5,000 and 6,000 steps. And because of that, you just don't have a signal to your brain that says this is important. However, if you start to make some of these dietary other changes and you feel that difference, then they stick. And that's why we love to make these radical changes with people, helping them identify their optimal changes and make them feel better really quickly. and then suddenly, you've hooked someone for life.
Right. No, I like that. Now, you talk about sleep, so let's talk about how important that is, because I think, obviously being in this hustle and bustle of DC, and you're doing so many different things, you're running rampant. So let's talk about how important sleep is and how we can sleep better. So can we talk about that?
So one of the things about fasting is you don't want to eat right before you go to sleep. So you probably want to give yourself 3 hours after you eat, minimum, would be ideal.
Before you go to sleep.
Before you go to sleep.
So do not eat anything, you say anything, drink anything before?
I would just keep the calories out of your system, unless you're trying to bulk up, which is the rare case in today's society. You probably want to let that go. The next thing is phones are bad for 2 reasons. One, they're designed to trick your brain into focusing on them, right? This is social media. The whole thing of why we're constantly going and looking at our phones and texting and other things is they're engineered. They've found ways to get you to engage. And the opposite of sleep is being heavily engaged in something outside. And the last thing is the lights around us and our phones, computers, and things are putting off blue light. And blue light actually is a signal to your brain to stay awake because it's coming, your brain is designed to think that's coming from the sun. And so that's, when the sun's out, you should be awake as a normal human as we've evolved. So it actually prevents your body from starting to make melatonin naturally, which is the hormone that makes us tired and helps us go to sleep better. So if you can decrease the amount of blue light you're getting at night, you'll fall asleep faster and sleep better.
Oh, wow. Now, is there glasses? I know that you talked about it, so let's talk about that.
Sure. So one of the hacks or tricks we use is, let's say you need to use your phone or maybe you need to work at night, depending on what your job is. There's some glasses you can use that block blue frequencies of light. And if you send us a note through our website, we have them and others have them, and they can be a huge benefit. In fact, if you're that person who can't go to sleep and finds themselves constantly, up and excited, we find that you put a pair of those glasses on people, and in an hour or two, they are just nodding asleep on the couch or in their bed, and it's just a great trick.
Right, yeah, because you're also the TV as well, and the light's coming down. It's not just on your phone, not the phone light. It's everywhere.
Everything.
Now, you said that you changed the lights in your house. Is that true?
So there are a number of different companies that make lights that you can control with your phone that change colors. So I use the Philips Hue lights, and at night they automatically go to red or an orange color because that's what happens when you take the blue out. They look more red or orange. So automatically my home is the right color. I don't have to wear the glasses then unless I'm looking at my phone or watching TV. And suddenly I'm getting a lot less of that blue in my eyes. I'm ready to go to sleep when I need to. I feel more refreshed when I wake up. The only thing is sometimes you forget to turn it off on the weekend. You have friends over, and everyone's, why did it just go red in here?
Right.
But people really appreciate it. It's also my favorite baby gift to give. Somebody has a newborn and they're going to be up in the middle of the night feeding them. How do you let them get the best sleep that night after they feed them and go to bed? Well, so I give my friends just had a kid, and gave them a set of these lights. So in the nursery or in their room, they don't have to wake up and be staring at blue light, but they can do what they need to do, and they can go back to sleep.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I'd also like to recommend the app Flux for any computer.
Yeah, so there's a couple. So now Windows 10 has a built-in app called Nightlight that'll basically take the blue out of your screen. And there's an app or a program for your computer called Flux, and I think the website, if I remember correctly, is Just Get Flux, Flux, and it does the same thing. It turns your screen orange at night, so you're not getting that blue. And I will tell you that if you install this or use the Nightlight or whatever Apple's version is, and work at night, and then just turn it off. You can, there's a thing you can turn it off because maybe you need to look at a PowerPoint and see the colors are right. You will be blinded. You will feel terrible, and you'll now understand then you'll understand what you were looking at all that time before.
Yeah.
One trick though, don't ever look at a document with things highlighted in yellow because you can't see it. So careful what you send to your clients then, but
just kidding.
It is a hugely valuable tool because blue light is this super powerful, physiologically active thing in our environment. And if we don't take care of it, then we don't take care of ourselves.
Right. Now, when you say, think about the nurseries and having that optimum sleep, you're saying blackout blinds, blackout everything, make sure it's all black, no TV in the back. What would you suggest?
Yeah, I love blackout curtains.
Yeah.
So you don't want to you want to make sure that the baby is getting a normal circadian rhythm, so light during the day and dark at night. But for yourself, absolutely at night, you don't want those street lights, those other things. If you can minimize that, you're going to be able to go back to sleep faster. And I mean, if you're waking up 3 or 4 times in the middle of the night for your newborn, you know, each time if you go to sleep 10 or 20 minutes faster, that might be an extra hour of sleep that night. And that's a big difference for new parents.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and then you also, I was going to tell you about the sleep. You were giving me an example. What was the other one? It wasn't about the light. I'll come back to it. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Like, what else would you suggest? Can you get those bulbs at like Home Depot or
get them off Amazon? I'm sure. Maybe you can buy them at Home Depot. I mean, these are things that are totally available. You set up a little thing, you plug into your router or plug into your Wi-Fi, and suddenly you control it. You can use your Amazon Alexa to control it if you want.
Wow.
It's these things. They're now integrated into your smart home if you want them to be.
That's awesome. I love it. Now, on the next thing, so now we got our sleep patterns. So now we're, blackout blinds and you make sure you get a good night's sleep. Oh, that was the sound machine. So what do you suggest about sound machines? White noise.
If you like them and you feel that you sleep better, good. If you don't. I don't really feel strongly one way or another, but some people certainly like them.
Yeah, I like them. I mean, I just like, you can hear all the creaks and everything like that waking you up. So I like it, but I was just curious if.
Yeah, the other trick is if you have a hard time waking up in the morning, make sure those lights come on bright and blue in the morning. Let me tell you something.
You're up.
You're going to wake up a lot more easily then.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about, so now we got the sleep. Let's talk about supplements. Everyone talks about, I need this supplement. I need this supplement. Like, can you talk about the specific products that you recommend to your clients and like how that helps performance? Because I'm sure it's not the same for everybody.
Sure. So, our ideal case is to take people and do blood testing and do testing of their body to really understand so we can tailor to them. Because, your doctor orders 10 blood tests and a concierge medicine doctor might order another 10 or 20. But there's more things you can learn about your body that you can get from your doctor, others that can really help you tailor your regimen yourself. And so that's really exciting when we can do that with clients. But, in general, we spend a lot of time looking at research because if something works in an animal, that doesn't tell me a lot about whether it's going to work in a human. Turns out that humans are not mice, which is a good thing, I guess.
Yeah. It's a bonus.
And we do a lot of research on mice, and I know a guy who used to joke that we're going to make it's going to be a Planet of the Apes type situation, but it's going to be mice instead. Because we do all the research.
They're already in DC. The rats are.
We're trying to make. Why are we trying to make super mice? I don't get it.
That's cute.
But so we spend a lot of time looking at the research, and we try not to recommend specific supplements to people who aren't our clients for various reasons. But at the end of the day, I want to know that it works in humans, that it has a meaningful effect over time, that there's enough data to show that it's not going to hurt you in the long term. And I also care a lot about who made it. Is it produced in a country where we worry about food safety? Is it made by people who take care of it? Is it stored properly? You would be surprised to find that some supplements that work well in research don't work when you buy them on the shelf because they need to be refrigerated or frozen. And so that's what we can do with clients is, we spend a lot of time. I've talked to farmers who make things that are processed into supplements because I need to figure out who's giving the real stuff and what's the knockoff. So we have an intimate relationship with understanding who the right supplier is and how that gets to somebody and then how that tunes their physiology based on what their goals are. Okay. That's actually maybe the most fun thing is what's your goal? Yeah. I think people will often rattle off, I want to be healthier. But what does that mean to you?
Right.
Almost nobody means they want to be healthier because it's even hard to define that. Somebody might say, I want to be healthier because I want to see my kids graduate from college. That's great. You care about your kids, and let's use that as motivation to get you where you want to be. Absolutely. Or somebody wants to look and feel better. Great.
Yeah. Like back in the dating world, right?
I'm
mean, you gotta look your best.
I'm sure a number of your clients want to look and feel better. And so how do we then take that and tie that to something that not only helps them there, but helps them in their business, that helps them in their home life, that it's going to make them healthier too. So the beauty is to be able to actually solve all of these things together and deliver somebody where they want to be in life in general.
Yeah. Oh no, I like that. No, well, you talk about the blood testing, right? I saw from one of your speaking engagements that they're using blood testing, I think, in the military, right, to see like where they would fit in based on, is it characteristics or something? I could have sworn I saw something about like how your blood, like where you're deficient, where you're.
There's been some research looking at whether you can understand from people whether they'll be good candidates for special operations and other stuff in published research. And it's really fascinating to understand how our body reacts that then influences our performance. And so, it's not magic that you can do something. It's something happens in your brain and body, and those are tied together with knowledge and experience. But if your brain and body react the right way, you're going to have easier time performing under stress, let's say. And everybody knows somebody who isn't fazed at all by stress, who could have someone hit them in a car and they're calm. And we know people who have the opposite reaction. And you can actually measure those things often in people and understand one of the determinants of their performance. So there's a lot of fascinating research. Most of it is quite new in terms of really using that to understand performance. And, it's not perfect. So some people have, the one profile but can perform well. But at the end of the day, the way your body reacts to stress and how you learn all these things, these are influenced by how we are from the inside out.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, think about if they could do that when you're like what your deficiencies are, and then in jobs they'll have you do assessments. You can do blood assessments. I mean, who knows? Like you could say, okay, this is what I'm really good at, or this is where my strengths are. If they had partners, maybe in the dating world, down the line they could hack it into compatibility.
There is a little bit of research that it's been refuted in some places. Some people still believe it's true that, for example, you can smell people who have immune systems that are complementary to yours, so that your kids would have a better immune system. There's some really funny research out there on these kinds of things. So it is possible that there's
like
an
the
aspect of
pheromones
this.
are on fire, right?
We are not as simple as people like to think. There are probably some pheromone type things that exist for humans. There's subtle cues. One set of research that's quite well known is that when female dancers, when strippers tend to be ovulating, that their tips go up. And so
that is so random.
But that could be because they dance differently. It could be because there's a pheromone effect. I think people don't really know why, but it has been demonstrated that that's the case. So we are very complicated systems, and we have eyes and ears and noses, and we're tasting the air. There's absolutely an enormous amount of data coming in. So to think that we're affected just by one of those data streams, I think is unlikely.
Right. Yeah. Well, think about that, because you can tell, like, wow, that person smelled really good, or that person, like, no, I didn't like the way they, it just kind of, it's just interesting. I've noticed that. So. And
you're probably reacting to nonverbal cues as well as the smell, and then you're associating those two things, and it's really fascinating. You can sometimes tell when you're meeting with people that some people are picking up on things very quickly, or other people are really focused on what they're thinking about, and everyone has, there's different styles here, but it is certainly fascinating to see how those styles match in couples and others.
Yeah, no, I like that. No, and also enhancing your mental being. What do you think about meditation? I mean, do you think that has a big influence on your performance, both mentally and physically?
I think meditation is one of the best things you can do every day. I think 20 minutes 3 times a week can change your life.
Really?
It is one of the best researched, most well-documented performance enhancement methods that exists. The benefits are almost unilateral, meaning it is beneficial for almost everybody, and it doesn't hurt almost anybody. And the amount that it can help you is just, I keep using the word incredible because it's really powerful. We know for sure that 3 times a week, 20 minutes is enough, because there's a lot of studies at that level.
20 minutes or like 3 times a day, or is it
20
minutes total?
3 20-minute sessions in a week.
Okay.
So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 20 minutes. If you want to do more, it's going to probably help more, but we like mindfulness type meditation. It has the most research. It seems to work for almost everybody. It's really incredible stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard so much about it, and you hear all the different podcasts that some of these companies are going in and they're saying these are mandatory, that people, to teach them how to meditate, and this is part of their company culture.
We run, as part of the training we do for companies, we do performance nutrition, performance sleep, performance meditation. We actually have a whole program designed around how you can meditate to not only feel better and think better throughout your life, but what happens if you're about to walk into a critical meeting. We can actually tune your meditation so that you're more creative, or we can tune it so that you're more focused, depending on the type of meditation you do. So we run trainings on that, as well as how to manage high performance teams. So we run all 4 of those training sessions for companies, and almost every company we go do that for, by the time we leave, they have or they're planning to set up a meditation room.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, because think about it. And many people say, well, I don't know where to start. Like, I don't know how to meditate. Where do I even begin? But what would you say, is it using just different apps or like Headspace?
Guided meditation is a great way to start. Okay. It's hard to do it without the guided piece. Here in DC, there's various groups that'll teach you how. Georgetown has a 10-week Wednesday night or Tuesday night program. That's actually a really good program. I can recommend. Yeah. I've done it myself, but get the Headspace app. Fine. Start with it. There's a bunch of free resources if you look on the web, but any of those are valuable, and just start doing it, and I bet you feel the difference.
Yeah, and you just get clarity, and intuition kind of opens up a little bit too. I think that's what some people say. But we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back, and we got more tips from Andrew. Well, welcome back. It's Jen Heck with the Dating Advisory Board and Andrew Herr, CEO of Helicase, speaking of Helicase, I want you to talk about your personal programs that you provide as well as your corporate training programs.
Sure. So basically, I want to know for individual clients, what do you want? And the thing that most people want is, I want more focus and energy. And when you dig deeper, they want to feel better at 3 p.m. They want to be able to push harder. And then some of them want to go afterwards, and maybe they're 40 and maybe they want to beat the 20-year-olds on the basketball court. Or maybe they want to have energy to go play with their kids. Or maybe they're a CEO triathlete and they're just doing everything, and we have a lot of fun with every type. Anyone in that group. Doesn't have to be an executive. We've worked with college students. We've worked with a huge variety of people. And so we identify your goals. We figure out what's going on inside your body. And then we design a personally tailored program. And the really fun part is, we don't just give you a program. You start the program, and then on a 2 or 3 week cycle, we're tuning it based on the feedback. And you tell us things, how you're feeling, what's changing, what you want more of. And we can usually tell what's going on inside your body. So we tweak your program to make it easier for you to do and to work better. And then, over a 3 to 6 month period, it's basically perfectly tailored to you. And you have a program that you can live the rest of your life. That's awesome. That you feel, sort of better, stronger, faster, if you will. And then with companies, corporate culture is obviously a huge thing. People talk a lot about it. But most trainings people to go to are of the variety of, please stop sexually harassing your coworkers. And I don't mean to make light of the topic, which is critically important to make sure we don't have problems there, but I mean to say that that's not the training that somebody really is excited about going to. So aside, the point of making that training better aside, we think it's really important to say, what kind of training can you give to your employees that they will love and that makes them better employees and better people for themselves as well. And we have a program, we do performance nutrition, performance meditation, performance sleep, and managing high performance teams, all based on research from the military and other things we've done. And we're able to teach your people in a day-long program, or one training a week for 4 weeks. And we're able to leave companies feeling better, performing better, and people see the outcomes at the end of it. In addition to the fact that people love the training. Well,
yeah, I mean, that's just amazing. I mean, you guys gotta go sign up. So it's just helicase.com. Is that how they can get in touch with you?
Please send us an email through the site. We'd love to hear from you. And, we're very responsive, because we believe that customer service is part of how you, right? If you think about performance, everybody feels better when people take care of each other. And so that's actually one of the happiest news stories from all research, which is, if you put somebody in a stressful situation and you look at how stressed they are, I mean, look at their blood levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, and then you put them with a stranger in the same situation, they actually have a smaller response to stress. And then if you put them with somebody they trust, it's even smaller. So the beautiful thing is, if you are with people you trust and you care about, stressful situations don't affect you as much. And that to me is like a really happy outcome and conclusion of the research, which is, if we take care of each other, we'll be happier and healthier, and we'll perform better.
Right. I mean, think about surrounding yourself with positive people, right? Not surrounding yourself with negative people, because I'm sure your stress is going to rise very high. Yeah.
Naturally. So, it's not only what we put in our bodies, it's not only our activities and exercise and meditation, but certainly our environments play that huge role too.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Andrew. I learned a lot, and I know you have too, but you got to make sure that you go and reach out to Andrew, helicase.com. Make sure you go there. And so thank you so much again.
It was a pleasure. Hope to see only the best things in the future. I know the Dating Advisory Board's pushing people to reach their potential, so I love it.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate it. And I have my clients going to Andrew too. So thank you. All right. Well, tune in next week. We will see you soon. Have a great week.
Cheers.
See ya. Bye.
Tune in to the Dating Advisory Board show Wednesdays at 6 p.m. to learn how to lead your love life like a CEO leads a company, the Business of Dating show. We discuss how to approach romance like you would approach the boardroom, with confidence, grace, and focus. Learn how to advocate for your needs, brand you, determine your core non-negotiables, create a board of advisors, and more. After all, the key to success is collaboration, both in business and personal relationships. Make sure that the reflection in the mirror is the best version of yourself before you start swiping right. This is Jen Hecht, Chairwoman of the Dating Advisory Board, and welcome to the show.